What is up, YouTube? Hopefully you can hear me. Tunes are tuning. Vibes are sky high. It's Monday morning. It's leg day, the best way to start the week. I'm actually at a new gym, or I'm trying out a new gym. One thing about me is I fucking love gyms. Something about a gym. I mean, I love traveling and trying out different gyms. Obviously, I've been in Austin for the past 3 weeks, and I've gone to some sweet gyms in the area, but I found this other gym a couple days ago on Instagram. It's a little south of Austin. It's like 20 minutes south. I think I'm in. Sorry, my Texas geography is not great. I don't know what town I'm in, but wherever 20 miles south of Austin is, I'm in that town. Anyways, I'm at a dope gym. A lot of sick equipment here. It's all like green. I kind of like, sometimes I like it when gyms like the colors all the same throughout. It's kind of cool. So this one's like all green, neon green and black, but a lot of sick equipment like Atlantis, Prime. Um, but it doesn't really matter because I'm just using a barbell for the majority of it because it's a leg day. We got squats and RDLs, but we got some West Side barbells. So right now I'm in the corner, got the fold-up chair in the corner of the gym. This is my favorite squat setup. I do this at all the gyms I go to. So the gyms I go back to in Richmond, Westwood, RVA Iron, I just sit in the corner when I squat so I can just like focus on the squats, put my head down. So this gym happens to have a corner set up with a squat rack. So it was made for me. But anyways, as far as the leg day, we'll start with some jumps. One thing I'm kind of changing is I'm moving my cleans from my leg days to my shoulder and arm day and then my pull day. Reason I'm doing that is because I sprint on that day. So I'm like, I might as well clean because I feel pretty good after the sprints. And then I'm only doing like shoulders and arms after or back. So it's not super taxing. And the cleans on these leg days when I squat, RDL, leg press, deadlift, lunge, it's a lot. So I've done this before. I did this earlier this year where I was doing my cleans on day 3 and day 6. So that's the only change I'm making. But anyways, as far as leg day, we're going to jump. We're going to squat heavy. We're going to RDL. We are going to leg press. We are going to hamstring curl, and then probably some sort of single leg movement to finish us off with some calf raises. So expect a long and dense session as these leg days are, but we'll start with the squat rack. I'm gonna go 5x5 and I'll explain throughout. I'm gonna do the next 6 weeks, kind of my progression I'm gonna use for my squat and bench. Hopefully try to bring those up because that's something I really want to bring up is my squat and bench. But try not to make this intro 700 minutes. We'll try to keep it under 3 minutes, and that's what we're doing. But anyways, as far as pre-workout, we're going to have the pump right here. So I had an energy drink. So the pump is just the non-stim because I don't need any more caffeine. On leg days, like I kind of like sipping on this, which might be kind of weird, but it's because the majority of my work is strength work and it's not till the end. So I do some like hypertrophy work and that's kind of when I want to hit. And it's just kind of nice to have a drink to sip on, enhances blood flow, all that. So let's get in this leg day. Let's squat heavy. Let's hinge heavy. Let's just have a freaking day today. Why not? Why not? It's a Monday. Let's start the week off right, baby. Let's rip.
All right, gonna hit you with a little voiceover. So this whole week, I'm just gonna do my full week of training where I record all 6 training sessions. I do a little voiceover to explain it, kind of make it easier so the videos aren't as long, keep them around like that 8 to 12 minute range, but where I can just really go in depth into each session. So I start every leg day with some sort of jump variation, usually a seated jump, especially on this day when I squat. Seated jumps are great because you're going from that dead stop, so you have to really rapidly produce force nice and quick, punch the ground, try to jump as high as possible because you don't have that stretch shortening cycle you would on a typical jump. Great to do. I like doing them a lot prior to squatting heavy because it kind of like reminds me to like really push into the ground. One, I get some power work in, some jump work in. It primes me. It gets my body ready to go, and it gets me ready to squat heavy. I really think about pushing through the ground. So for the next 6 weeks, I'm gonna do a progression of my squat and bench. For the first 2 weeks, I'm gonna go 5x5. Weeks 3 and 4, 6x4. Weeks 5 and 6 and 8x3. Essentially, I'm trying to add like 10 pounds a week. So I started week 1 with about, I use 80% as like a general guide. So 425 right here. It moved pretty decently, hit all 5 sets. I would say it was around like RP like 8, and that's something I'm trying to be better at is like using RP and stuff like that. So I'm gonna try to use that for the next 6 weeks because typically I just go balls to wall each set. And with strength work, obviously it's more practicing the skill, kind of leaving a couple in the tank so you can actually progress week to week. And that's what I'm doing: a 5x5, 6x4, 8x3. A lot of sets with higher weights, and especially trying to get better in that 3 to 5 rep range because I'm pretty good in like that 6 to 8 range. But when I get to these heavier loads and lower reps, this is when I am not so great. So doing more sets is better for me. But heavy squats, I always start a leg day with. Squats are king, can't go wrong with them. Back squat, front squat, whatever you prefer. But a squat variation, lower reps, more sets, for strength work is kind of the way I like to go. So start with that, and then I get into RDLs. So whenever I back squat, I do RDLs on the same day. Um, RDLs keen for your posterior chain. I always recommend using straps on these because your grip's gonna be way stronger than your hamstrings. Or sorry, your hamstrings gonna be way stronger than your grip. When I was like in high school, I used to be like anti-strap, and in college, and I would like RDL like 100 pounds less than I was doing now. So don't be like me. Use straps. They definitely help. You're not cheating yourself. You're only making your hamstrings stronger. So I did a 4 by 6 to 8 here. I ended up getting 7 reps. I was kind of doing it where I was leaving like one in the tank each set. Again, with RDLs, I always go to like that mid shin height. I really think about keeping the bar close, pushing my hips back, coming to that mid shin. You can go more of an RDL or also a stiff-legged deadlift. Only difference there, a stiff-legged deadlift, typically you go all the way to the ground, you pause, and you start from the ground. You definitely get a little more ham or glute activation in that, but I like these traditional RDLs where I just go that mid shin height. I can almost RDL as much as like a deadlift, which shows how bad I am from pulling off the ground. But RDLs after squats, so you hit your main squatting movement, your main hinging movement, both kind of more in that strength focus, more higher or lower reps, more amount of sets. And then I like getting into hypertrophy work. So leg press is something I only started doing probably back in March. I used to never leg press or really even use any machines for my legs besides like maybe a hamstring curl here and there. But implementing these leg presses has been absolutely money. I mean, some of these leg presses, like this one, for example, the Arsenal one, is just so freaking smooth. You can load it heavy, but you can get so deep in it. Like I can bring my knees to my chest, get a full range of motion. All I have to think about is pushing. So I am definitely have been a big fan of machines, especially leg machines, post squats and RDLs. Like I'm always gonna be a free weight barbell based guy, like because I love, I love those movements. That's my bread and butter. I love seeing how much I can squat, deadlift, RDL, all that stuff. But I definitely love implementing these like machines, especially on or post squats, post RDLs when I'm already freaking fatigued. Because the thing about a machine is you don't have to worry about stability. All you have to worry about is pushing as hard as possible. So it's definitely good. It's way less mentally fatiguing too because there's less stuff you have to do, so you can get a little more out of it. So that's why I'm a big fan of this. Now, if you're someone who you only really care about hypertrophy or you don't really care about like your back squat or RDL, you could also do hack squats instead of back squats. You could do like a RDL on a belt squat or something that's more stable. I'm obviously always into the performance side and that strength and size, so I'm always going to use the barbells. But I can definitely see why people like gravitate towards machines. Like it is way less mentally fatiguing. But I will say there is something in those fatiguing movements. Like there's nothing like sitting in that corner of a gym for an hour squatting heavy. I mean, you just can't beat it. So I definitely recommend you doing them, but implement machines, in the middle of your workouts after your main compounds is a great way to do it. So did 3 sets of leg press there in that 6 to 8 range. It was kind of a little heavier than I thought. And then I get into a hamstring curl. So kind of my setup, I go like a quad base movement, hamstring, quad, hamstring. I just alternate back and forth. So now we're back to the hamstrings. Now we're doing a seated curl. So whenever I do hamstring work, I do some sort of RDL variation. So your hamstrings cross both your hip and your knee joint. So when you're doing like an RDL or a stiff-legged deadlift, you're kind of training more the hamstrings crossing the hip joint because you're doing a hip hinge, and then a hamstring curl, you're training the hamstrings that cross the knee joint because you're doing obviously a curl variation. So I like doing both in a session. Seated hamstring curl is my all-time favorite curl variation just because I can really sit there and really focus on bringing my heel to my butt. So I did 3 sets there, and then I did 3 sets of leg extensions on this. This was a cool one, the Prime machine where you can kind of load it, but a regular leg extension is goated. Trying to find a leg extension where you get your knees past 90 and get a huge range of motion and kind of lean back is what I've been doing. And then I finished with just a calf raise, 3 sets here. So overall leg day structure, you start with your heavy strength work of your squats and RDLs, and then you get into some machine work, still heavy with the leg press, and then some accessories with the hamstring curl, leg extension, calf raises. I also realized it's a fair amount of volume. You can adjust it to you. You can cut 1 to 2 sets per movement. Again, if you don't really care about strength, you can take the barbell movements out for more machine focused. But if you want to do a leg day where it's trying to gain strength and size, I really like this format. You're getting your heavy barbell movements in early, you get some machine work, and you absolutely blast the legs. So that is day 1 of the training week. Legs, let's rip, boys. Good session. Thank you for watching. Stack the damn days.